Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And I didn't do a Tuesday stream. Some things happened at the house I had to take care of, but for the most part, I am back, at least on Friday, my special streaming day. And how have you all been? What's been going on? How's everything going? Any new changes? Anything interesting happen? Anyway, in today's stream, ooh, that was my phone. Let me actually turn on Do Not Disturb mode real quick. So, as I was saying, not much happened these past few days. I was having some issues at home, so I was unable to stream like I wanted to. I haven't even streamed in the past few days because I've also been handling some business with my new job. I had to do some paperwork and stuff like that. But right now, let me actually look past my stream and see sort of the progress I've done so far. Hmm. And I do, in fact, want to talk about what happened in Hollywood. I'm going to work a little bit first before I go into my Hollywood rant because I've been looking at some stuff, seeing some stuff through the grapevine that I really want to talk about, at least later on. I can do the in between later. I just want to set up these keyframes. And so when it comes to animation, what you want to do is while you do want to keep your sizing consistent and your proportions up, animation is mainly going from a gesture drawing to a gesture drawing, especially if it's a more exaggerated form of animation where there's going to be a lot of flow and emotion in a scene. So, really, in these keying frames, these frames where you just are establishing sort of the motion, you just want to provide the gesture. So, real quick, why I titled my stream the way I did. How many minutes has it been since I started? Well, it's only been like 10 minutes. Okay, so the reason why I titled my stream the way I did is because it's very apparent now that with a lot of the P. Diddy stuff that's been going on, as well as just the recent actor and writer strikes that happened last year, as well as the animation strikes that just have not been going anywhere as of late, it's safe to say that Hollywood as we know it is crumbling. Like, that's just something that I can attest to and I can say on the spiritual level. So much drama is going on. So many people are afraid. There are apparently tapes out of like P. Diddy recording people, a lot of big politicians, as well as other actors and industry people who have attended his parties. So it's like a lot of industry people are running scared. There's been a downsizing of projects. A lot of stuff has been going on. So I am of the nature and of the belief that Hollywood as we know it is over. And really, on a spiritual level, it was bound to happen. When you have corruption at this level, when you have discourse and chaos at this level, there's only so much that God, the Most High, will allow you to get away with. I mean, there's rumors of doing things to minors and children. There's rumors of like having slaves, like pleasure slaves and stuff like that. A lot of unrighteousness has been going on in Hollywood for such a long time. And honestly, there were always those faint echoes and like those faint signs that there was corruption going on. Like you have stories of people, and this was like a major thing in the 90s and early 2000s, where people would get out of high school or get out of college and they'd move cross country to California. And their whole notion and idea was, oh, I'll work in a cafe, or oh, I'll work as like a food runner or something like that, and I'll work on my script or I'll work on my screenplay while I'm in this cafe, and then I'll find an industry executive or I'll find a director and I'll say like, hey, here's my screenplay, or I'll save up enough money for an audition, and then I'll try to sell my idea to people, sell my idea to a boardroom. And it's like that always seemed so corrupt to me. The fact that people have been able to push this sorcery and witchcraft out on people to get them to leave their homes. Let's actually talk about this. People would leave their homes, leave their families, leave their families, their friends, everything they grew up around, everything they had, in order to go cross country and go to California, go to Hollywood, go to Los Angeles. And they would try to get an internship. Or if they didn't get an internship, then they would like work locally at a cafe or at a restaurant. And they'll just pray that they'll find an exec who's on their lunch break and talk to them and say, hey, I have this idea for a show, put me on. Or hey, I want to be an actor, can you do something for me? And it's like, these directors, these screenwriters, they're not looking for new shows. They're not looking for new ideas. They just want to eat their sandwich. They just want to have their coffee and go about their day. The only reason why a director would stop at a coffee shop and talk to you, someone who moved cross country, is they're looking to abuse you or they're looking to use you. And there have been countless stories of people who go to Los Angeles, and like there are people who attend photo shoots, or they find someone who's working on their photo, who's working on their photography portfolio, and they take photos of people only for it to be some weirdo who's trying to collect compromising images of people or trying to coax them into drinking and abuse them. It's like, and I know that there are some people who aren't as religious or as spiritual as me, but that entire area, Los Angeles, has always been just a hotbed, has been a seed for so much sin and debauchery and heathenness. Like, it has hurt people. Like, why do you think there have been so many children who go to California who go into the industry, and then afterwards they want nothing to do with acting. They want nothing to do with the big city ever again. Some of them are even strung out on drugs. Like, look at Amanda Bynes. Like, I hate to say it, but look at Amanda Bynes. Look at how Miley Cyrus fell. Look at Taylor Swift. And some of them even stay with that, and they get grandfathered into that sin and get grandfathered into that reprobateness. And now that they're doing things themselves of their own volition, now they're hurting other people like P. Diddy did, like Epstein did, like so many people who moved to that Los Angeles, California area are doing. It's like a hotbed for corruption. And so it was bound to happen. And I honestly think like because in the early 10s, like in the early 2010s, you would constantly see stories of like fires going on in California. Like there was a forest fire every few days, every few months, like from 2012 to I want to say 2016 to 2018. Something always wild, some sort of fire always happening in California. Like I genuinely think that that was a sign by God Himself saying that California was essentially hell on earth. And then after the pandemic, when there was like a bit of a revival. There was an attempt at least where people were trying to work from home and work on projects from home. That was when the major push for animation was a thing. And they really tried to make animation more prominent than it is. But because of their nature, they want to keep that hotbed. They want to keep that control in California. They want to keep that elitism in California. So even though what happened with COVID allowed people to work remote and work from home because they still wanted that control and that status of being in California. They quickly tried to diminish and get rid of that remote work layout, that remote work blueprint that was in California. It's like, no, we're not doing this anymore. We want to keep our power. We want to keep our location. We want to keep where we are, where we're at. And so that's why it didn't really last that long. And I never had the opportunity to work in the industry, but even I have my own experiences with people who have been in and around the industry, especially during my college years. Like I have said this multiple times. I can attest to it multiple times. Like there are people who have just engaged in debauchery even in my college years. Like my college has had industry people who are the staff, who are the professors, people who used to work in the industry or worked adjacent to the industry. And some of my animation professors have definitely acted as predators or who have sustained that gatekeeping mindset where I was a very hard worker, I was a very diligent worker, but because I didn't make connections with my professors, but because I wasn't all nice buddy buddy with my professors, I didn't get ahead in the program. And a part of me is still sore. Like I am able and I am humble enough to say like I still feel some type of way. Like I'm still hurt. Like I'm human. But like I've had my own experiences where people are like even in college, people are saying like, "Oh, you didn't do enough work. You didn't do this. You didn't do that." Meanwhile, there are individuals who just at the bare minimum, but because they were in class sharing memes with the professor and joking it up and hamming it up with the professor, I know they got into the concentration, whereas I didn't. And then after graduating, I end up learning like, oh, this professor, he got reported for being inappropriate with female teachers. And this professor, she has a horrible track record. Like if you go to her webpage, her review page, you have just review upon review of calling her a horrible professor. It's like a lot of secrets and a lot of corruption is coming out. And I truly believe that God gave me the experience I had in college to sort of forewarn me about what the actual industry was going to be like. Like, I genuinely and wholeheartedly believe that. And I just want to say, like, there have been forest fires, there have been floods, there's been a job crisis, a homelessness crisis, a migrant crisis all in California. People can't find work, yet there are 100 jobs for people to apply to. Nobody's hiring anybody. There's been what else? Like I said, the writer's strike, the actor's strike. Like there is there is too much karma in that place. Like there is too much negative energy that's been put out that has to be evened out. Like I'm sorry, like that's just something I have to say on a spiritual level where you can't keep that corruption up and then expect nothing to happen. Like I am of the belief that only God could have done something that is going on in California right now. Only God can cause all this devastation, all this torment, all this judgment that's going on. Like only God could do something like that. Like you can't have a situation where the entire state is going through some form of turmoil or chaos. And you can call it karma, you can call it reaping what you sown, you can call it Democrat choices, but for things to go the extent that it's going right now, literally that is something that only God could have done. Only God could have pulled off. Like the level of chaos that is going on right now. Only God could have done that. And there's nothing wrong with that because like it's playing into biblical prophecy. As much as we hate it, as much as we dislike it, like there is that non-zero factor of, especially if you're someone who's has a Christian background or someone who may not call themselves Christian but still follows the Bible, and you're more so like a kingdom first instead of religion first, like you're like one of those the way people, or even if you're like one of those Hebrew Israelites, like you still, there is a spiritual factor to all things. And there are those who would quickly say that, oh, magic doesn't isn't real, God isn't real. But it's moments and things like this where darkness comes to light, where corruption comes to light, where all the evilness of the world is being exposed, where you can't help but think, you can't help but believe that, yes, there is in fact some form of real God to this world. Like, I hate to, like, I know people hate to admit it, but God is real. And God is showing that He's real with how much hardship that's going on in this world right now. But the hardship is not to make us suffer. The hardship is to make us better people. Because there will come a time when everyone will be judged, or everyone has to be judged. So all you really can do is pray, seek guidance, seek repentance, and then just play the part that God has you set up to play. Like that's really all you can do, all that can be done is play the part that God has set for you. And so I somewhat feel like I'm at least starting, or I'm doing a portion of what God is asking me to do, because I'm just a mortal man. I don't have the big picture. I don't know everything. But I am doing what I can. Like, I'm trying my best to make people happy. I'm trying my best to not necessarily keep up the facade, but at least try to help people go another day. Like, I want to use my art to uplift people, to tell stories, to give people a break, because we are definitely in an age and in a time where things are terrible. Like, let's just be honest. Like let's just be honest. Let's just be real. There are so many people who are depressed. There are so many people who can't make ends meet. There are so many people who are going through some form or type of struggle where they can't put food on the table, where they don't know where they're sleeping the next night, where the economy is just that bad. Especially if you're someone who's more so a millennial or someone who's in Gen Z and you're trying to live on your own, you're trying to do your thing. Like, there's a lot of hardship going on. So if I can make an animation, so if I can make a story, if God blesses me to keep talking in these live streams, like I'm gonna do my best and I'm gonna do my part to just help people stay, help people go and continue just one more day. Hmm. Actually, I think I drew this model a bit wrong. So let me actually, and that's why gestures are important. I just noticed like that's a design choice that I have. Like a lot of my characters cross their legs. I mean, that's not necessarily bad, but it is something I noticed. I don't know. To me, something about crossed legs just gives off this idea and perception of power. It's like this sort of, I want to say, amorous type of feel. Because I did design all of the characters to look somewhat attractive. Like all of the main characters are attractive in their own way. Hmm. Now, as for this model, I probably could have made his legs longer. So, yeah, I'm actually going to fix that real quick. Just slightly longer. Because he's meant to be the most in the forefront. This is taking quite a long time. But that's the fun part about animation, especially when you're doing it 2D by hand like this. It takes a while, but once you finally get the hang of it and once you finally get to making and creating your keyframes, that's when things, at least in theory, are supposed to get better and easier. I see I got some new viewership. So in this stream, this is just my blanket thoughts while I'm animating, while I'm working on this project. So come and go as you please. No stress. Welcome to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. Leave a comment, ask a question, whatever you want. If you'd like to, you can also rewatch it. You can rewind and see what you guys may have missed a little bit because I do start talking about sort of the Hollywood stuff around the 10-minute mark, the 10 to 11-minute mark. That's when I really go in depth and go in. And I'll just be talking about that, coming back to it here and there as I stream, as I continue on from this point. But I was essentially talking about how there are a lot of secrets and a lot of underground stuff going on in Hollywood. And so, whether you're a spiritual person or not, whether you're a religious person or not, this fall of Hollywood is sort of bound to happen. Because you got folks doing things at parties, you got gatekeeping going on, you have to know somebody who knows somebody, or you have to do a favor for somebody in order to get work in Hollywood and in Los Angeles in general. And like even now, the whole animation strike is not going that well. They still haven't, at least at the time of me streaming this and recording this, they still haven't found a way to find any sort of deal with the animation. Nothing with residuals, nothing with AI, none of that. They're still in discussions. They're still striking. And I was on X a few weeks ago, and I was trying to say like, "Hey, decentralized from Hollywood, get out of Hollywood," but then I got attacked, and I was called nothing but a fan, even though I had my bachelor's degree in media, and even though I've been animating and trying to make my big break for a while now. I just got called a fan, and they cast me to the wayside. So it's like, at this point, whatever happens, let it happen. Because to an extent, I think some of these people don't want to be saved, or I think some of these people just have too much pleasure in being in Hollywood. So it's like now they're not really doing what's best for them. They're doing what's best for their state in that environment and in that area. It's like, hey, let's double down. Let's try to get discussions open. Let's try to fight these people, get these companies to give us more money. When in reality, and yes, not everyone wants to start their own business. Like, I fully accept that. I fully realize that not everyone wants to start their own business. Not everyone wants to go into business for themselves. But there are definitely those who either have tried to get their big break or who have tried to go into the industry, but because they're dealing with difficult people and individuals, they sort of have to go it their own. And then there's even this stigma of people who do try to go independent. They're like, oh, you go do that. You go try to make your own studio. You need money, you need capital, you need this, you need that. And it's like, yes, you do need those things, but the simple matter is that it's not meant to be something that gets done immediately or even in the first year. It's meant to be something that's prolonged and you work towards. Not something with instant gratification, but something that has long-term stability. Like, I am of the belief and I am of the mindset that Hollywood never should have been allowed to happen. There never should have been a concentration of an industry in one location. Because it allows for corruption, it allows for elitism, and it allows for all of these horrible and corrupt things to happen, of people having to do things unsavory, of people having to do things that they may necessarily not want to do in order for a chance to get work. I mean, I don't think that it's a hopeless situation. I am of the personal belief that things definitely, by all means, can get better, can be better. It's just the issue is that people have to want it to get better. People have to want it to get better, and the people have to go about the right way of making it better. Does anyone have any comments or anything they'd like to add or share? Any questions? If that if not, that's all right. Oh, hello, you two. Welcome to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. Right now, I am working on one of the scenes from my pilot. I decided to test my skills in animation. I'm trying to reach that next step, so I did rough out a storyboard with some character models and some scenes, and I'm just working with this right now. That's the main thing that I'm working on. It's not going to be an animated. It's not going to be an animatic. It's going to be a full animation that I'm working on. It's probably going to be about mm, maybe not even 1 minute. I actually sort of guessed the time. Oh, this is zoomed in. Oh, you meant for the storyboard. My bad. This was just a rush job so that I could get into the actual animation. But I do plan on going back over my storyboard and adding more detail. This is just enough for me to get a workable sample of what I'm doing. There are multiple phases to animation. There's the storyboarding phase, there's the tie down phase, there's the in betweening, and then that can be further. Ooh, welcome, Brajesh from India. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. While my name is Nigerian, I'm actually from America, born and raised in North Carolina. My father's from Nigeria, but my mom she's from Virginia, so that explains that. Nice to be meeting so many interesting people. I usually get a lot of interesting people. One time I got someone who was from, I believe, Sudan and the Middle East. Another time I got someone who was straight from Japan, I believe. So that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. I like the fact that I get such a diverse audience, people who like to come and go. Do you have any questions for me? Things I maybe want to focus on, or any questions about the animation process? This was a bit of an interesting uh, stream topic. I decided to go over Hollywood because I do have some of my own history with the industry, as well as trying to break in and get into the industry. I am a religious person. I have a Christian background, and I'm a very biblical minded person. So it's like to have to see Hollywood fall the way it is with what's going on with P. Diddy, as well as a lot of Hollywood secrets going on, like their job crisis, their housing crisis, everything like that. It seems very biblical to me, just how things are falling and just how things seem to be ending up. Like there's really no special sort of way to phrase it. Just everything that's going on, it seems like it was almost destined to happen, really. But I'm just doing my own thing. I'm just working on my own projects and working on my own animations. I've been working on the Seven Sages for, I want to say, about 2 years now. I've been script writing off and on, and I've been trying to do many animations and many projects to sort of help build my skills and sort of help me grow in my skills in animation, as well as just overall build up my following. Because long term, I do in fact plan on starting my own animation studio in my hometown of Raleigh, North Carolina. Oh no, this isn't my first time animating. I've animated for a while now. Like I've really been animating for about 3.5 to 4 years. I started in high school actually, but when it comes to content creation and streaming, I've been doing this for about 3 years. I got my bachelor's degree in media. Um, I went to college for this, so no, this is not my first time using. And I've definitely tried doing greater and lesser animations before in the past with varying levels of success. My main issue is on the matter of time because if I really wanted to, I could probably spend a whole entire year working on an animation. But because I like to get it out in a reasonable time frame, I usually spend no more than like maybe 2 to 3 months on certain animations. But if it's like something full length, then I will sometimes even take 5 months to work on it. I've just had a lot of things go on recently, which is why I'm not making such progress with this animation. But things happen. I'm a man of faith, so things will work out eventually. That's just how I am. But the whole world and the whole concept is a science fantasy. So it's going to be that blending of magic and technology. The world of the Seven Sages, it takes place, well, the world actually follows our history up to the year 2000, which is when this event known as the Cascade occurs. And it's this nigh world ending event where essentially magic comes back to the world. And people have longer lifespans, people can cast spells, people are more durable, so on and so forth. And so the seven sages in particular are seven men and women who've each been wronged in their own way, and they're seeking revenge. And because of my upbringing, I actually drew a lot of inspiration from the Bible, specifically the book of Revelation, as well as the book of Enoch, which goes over like watchers and angels who fell from heaven and how they bred with mortal women and created giants and Nephilim, and how they taught humanity magic and how they taught humanity how to make weapons, so on and so forth. But it also follows the Bible in the sense that, pre flood, pre that antediluvian period, people lived to be around 500 and 900 years old. So the mere idea of people in this world having access to magic now and having extended lifespans is more so that idea of now God's spirit has returned to the world. So while magic is sort of an easier concept to understand, what it actually is this more so Christ consciousness or this divine energy that has returned to people. So that's really this sort of science fantasy that I'm going for. And it's not really a cliche where you have this one guy and all he uses is fire magic, or you have this other person and all they use is lightning magic. In this world, how it's set up is anyone can use any type of magic, and it's mainly based on your perception of the world. So you have individuals who are more emotional. So their emotions affect how they use magic, and they may be more connected to their environment. Oh, you're working on the Elden Ring animation? That's pretty cool. I think a lot more people need to go into animation for themselves and work on their own projects. Like that's just my honest opinion. We have too much industry going on, and the industry is already falling and failing. So it's like, go independent. Start your own studio. Do your own thing. That's my genuine viewpoint on that matter. Is I think more people should just do their own thing and try to make a name for themselves because things, hate to say it, but things are not going to get easier and things are not going to get better, especially long term. Like, you have to do your own thing and you have to set things up for yourself if you want to really genuinely succeed. But I've never really been one to worry too much. I've always just had that faith and I've always gone with it. But I've been working on this for a while. Yeah, I said like 4 years. I've been, no, about 3 years. Because I really started ramping up after college when I wasn't able to get into the industry. So I said, you know what, let me just do my own thing. Let me try to see if I can do some freelance work here or there, or if I can do what I can essentially. And so that's really what led me into this rabbit hole of YouTube and of trying to go at it my own way. Because my desire has always been to make my own show, but because of how the industry is set up, the industry is sort of set up to not allow for new talent, or if new talent does get in, they're essentially broken to the point where all they do is just pipeline work for other people, which is why individuals like Vibsy Pop and why individuals like the team behind Murder Drones, they're so, excuse me, they're so inspiring because they were able to make it. Like they were able to do their own thing, and it really shows that you can try and you can fight to make a name for yourself. So I would definitely say just have some hope and just have some faith because your dreams, what you desire, is attainable. All it really takes is just some humility and persistence. Like you won't be able to move cross country, or you won't be able to, like, you won't be able to move cross country. You won't be able to go to where all the other animators are and expect to get a job, because when you do that, when you try to go to a big city that has everyone else who's doing exactly what you're doing, the likelihood that you'll get in is very slim. And those industry people are already very picky choosy. They already have the pick of the litter, so they only want the best of the best, the cream of the crop. So I would just say stay home with your parents. And there's nothing wrong with living with your parents. Like, I get enough of a diverse stream of people where I've had people from America, people from Africa watch me from time to time, people from I just saw an Indian person in my chat just now, people from the Middle East. That whole idea and notion of leaving home at the age of 18 is a very American concept. People should be okay with living with your parents even when you're full grown. So it's like you kind of have to just stay consistent with yourself and work to make things better for yourself. That's what I do. That's what I've done historically. It's just like I'll work a local job, I'll try to do something locally. And then while I'm working that local job, doing that local thing, I can then work on my skills, develop myself, and eventually I'll have what it is I've been planning and desiring to do. And even in my journey and even in my pursuit of animation and just overall my attempts to be better and grow in my skill, I can definitely say that I have made leaps and bounds in my independent pursuits. I have made leaps and bounds because there have been multiple things that I've learned over the course of making these mini animations and doing these mini projects. I've learned about sizing consistency, proportions. I've learned to implement foreshortening in my animations. I've learned different coloring methods and techniques, ways to make the animation process easier and more seamless. I've learned about compositing and coloring correction. I've learned about making backgrounds for my animations. A lot of helpful and useful tools and skills and different things. Hello, Huride. That is how I say your name, right? Huride. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. This is my this is my sit and chill podcast where I stream Tuesdays and Fridays, and it's essentially a time where folks can come and go as they please. We can talk. We can talk about different things we're going through. Any questions about the animation progress process you have, you can ask me. So on and so forth. If you have anything you'd like to add or anything you'd like to ask, or if there's nothing you just want to talk or chat or just listen to me, then that's perfectly fine too. It's very come and go as you please. Subscribe if you want to. So, I do have certain benchmarks I'm trying to make and achieve. Once I reach 500 subscribers, I plan on hosting a special extra long 5-hour live stream. And once I reach 1,000, that's when I plan on hosting a special Q&A live stream so people can ask me questions about myself, about my history as an animator, different things like that, so on and so forth. 1,000 subscribers is also when I start to hmm, start doing more business sided things and business based things. Like once I reach 1,000 or at least 1,100 subscribers, I plan on starting my own animation studio and sourcing talent local to my city. Because my plan is to start my own animation studio long term. But that's just me being a black man in animation. Oh, and another thing on that whole Hollywood is falling thing, I've mentioned this before in the past, but I do think that it is funny that all these Hollywood folks, all these people keep pushing diversity in the workplace and so on and so forth. But if you actually look, they have no black men Like that's always the wild thing that's always stood out to me. Is like all these diversity corporations and people who push diversity, they don't hire any black men, or if they do, it's only like one or two. Like, I hate to say it, but the animation industry, it feels very racist. Like, there's nothing else that can be said other than the animation industry feels racist. I think that's it for the rough animation because I can just in between it later. There are some subtle movements I want for these characters. Probably like a head nod or a fidget or something like that. And then I also got the hair animation I'm gonna do for certain characters. But that can be saved for later. And sometimes I do sort of freeze. Don't hold it against me, but it's like I just like to stop and think for a second. And one of the things I learned to do and I try to do is a whenever I'm making like a horizon line, whenever I'm making a plane to animate on, I try to avoid a center line. And so I'll do everything except the center line. So then I don't draw on that center. Like I'm trying to be. I feel like I'm dedicating too much to the actual body. So there was actually a time frame when I was doing content on YouTube where I spent like a year straight just doing speed paints and doing like character art and OC art and stuff like that. And so because of that, it sort of left some it left a few bad habits in me, but like essentially I spend and I dedicate too much time to modeling out the figure. Like I'm treating this like it's a digital art piece instead of an animation. So I'm adding too much details to things that don't really need it. Not to say that animation doesn't need detail, but you don't need to spend like almost half an hour trying to detail something. Especially for something that's only going to be like one frame long. So let me just start over with. So head to head, that's going to be the sternum. You know, I've been animating this for so long and I have forgotten to press save. So that's just a bad habit I have where I'll just forget to press the save button. Look, let me tell you guys something. Oh, well, I've gotten like 33 views this entire time. Okay, so in animation, things can go wrong with your file. Sometimes it can just close by itself or mess up. So you have to make extra sure that you hit the save button regularly. Because the program could close out or you could mess up or you could do something wrong. So yeah, make sure you press save. Let's see, an hour and 48 minutes. That's actually pretty good time. I might do a special stream Sunday night. I'll see how things go. I'll see how I'm feeling that day because, I just haven't been streaming like I should. There's always been something new or something else that's come up, that's popped up, that's really kept me from streaming like I've wanted to. So, depending on how things go, I may have a special stream either Sunday night or Monday. And if neither of those days, then I'll probably just have an extra long stream on Tuesday. Probably go for like 2.5 hours. But I think I've made quite a bit of progress, and I'm definitely going to work a bit more on this on my off time. I know you guys are probably tired of me. You guys probably want to go off, do your own thing for the day. And that's not really the point of these streams, is to keep you guys here forever. Just come and go as you please. We talk, we chat, do what you want. Any questions about the animation process or about the topic, just leave them down in the chat so then I can talk to you guys about it. But that's just how I am as a streamer. Like, I'm not trying to be the best. I'm not trying to get 1 million subscribers. Just enough to do what I want to do, and just enough to, obviously I want to get monetization. That's my main goal. But really, just streaming is enough for me. Anyway, I do hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all liked this stream. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share even. Once again, I stream Tuesdays and Fridays. I try to stream around 10 o'clock. And yeah, this has been Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And I'll see you guys in my next video or live stream. Bye.